Hi everyone, welcome to the stream today. My name is Miriam and I'm excited to chat today with Sai Aurora
Hey everyone.
From Kbee. Is that correct? It's a really cool product. Yeah, and we met on Slack, super random. And then I said, come talk to my channels about who you are and what you do. Because you had a really successful product at launch. So if you're tuning in live, make sure you just comment questions below. And if you're watching after, you could follow Sai on Twitter using his handle that's in his name right now. So Sai, tell me first a little bit about yourself. What brought you to this point in your journey? I know you're out in the San Francisco Bay Area, but you're not from there.
Yeah. So, hey everyone, my name's Sai. I've been living in San Francisco now for about 8 years, and I moved here right after graduating from college. So I'm originally from Columbus, Ohio, went to Ohio State, and then 2013 graduated and beelined it out to the Bay Area. I always knew I wanted to work in technology. And, you know, it's funny, I've been telling a lot of people, I always wanted to be a product manager, but I didn't really know what that was. You know, growing up in Columbus, you don't have a lot of product managers walking around or software people always, you know, showing up. And so I always knew I wanted to work with products, build products, but I didn't really know what the formal title was for that. And so spent the last 8 years at a variety of different tech companies, from big companies to small startups. Most notably, I was an early stage hire at a company called Zen Payroll, now known as Gusto, and then worked at an e-commerce platform called Magento, which was acquired by Adobe in 2018. And so for the last year and a half or so, I've been working on my own, or for myself, I would say. I have 2 products that my co-founder and I are running. One is called Simplement, which is a B2B customer onboarding platform, and the other is Kbee, which we launched in December. And so, you know, for me, having spent time across different companies, different stages, and in different roles, I've really gained a lot of appreciation for like what it takes to not only get a product up and running, but also support a product and support a product community of folks who are really excited by what you're doing and really excited to be a part of that journey with you. And so, yeah, that's a pretty condensed version of myself.
Thank you. Yeah, that's great. Those are some big, I've heard of both of those, Gusto and Magento. I've heard of both of those. So cool. Awesome. Cool that you're out here doing your own thing now. Congratulations on taking that leap.
Thank you.
So 3 years into it?
No, I would say, so we launched our first, as part of the acquisition, like Magento was acquired in 2018. I spent most of 2019 at Adobe. And then at the end of 2019, I left to go full time on my own ventures. So Simplement's been around for about a year and a half now, actually. Almost 2 years. Like it's been because we started it while I was at Adobe, and then Kbee's been around for about 6 months. So yeah.
Cool. Well, definitely everyone should check out Kbee, and I'd love to, if you send me the information on the other one, I will look at that too. And we'll get into the product with what you guys did for Product Hunt launch as well during this chat. But how has the journey been for you while I have you? Just kind of once you went full time, like how has that been?
Yeah, I think it's kind of been drinking from the fire hose in terms of learning. You know, when you kind of don't, or I would say I didn't really know what I didn't know when I was working a full-time job and thinking about going full-time on my own thing. Definitely have made a ton of mistakes, but I think each of those has just made us a little bit better as product people, helped us get better in terms of how we serve folks and how we help them solve their problems. So yeah, I think, you know, if I were to really describe it, I went from, I don't know, like I think the biggest learnings have been around distribution and really what it means to serve a customer. Like it's not so much about the solution, it's much more about the like the mindset or the emotional framework you're putting someone into after they've interacted with your product or your brand. And that's really what we should be focused on as product people, is how are we making people feel after they've like interacted with something we've put out there?
Okay, that's a very good tip. Yeah, it's just so much. Like, honestly, it's so much going to market and stuff. I'm like, whoa. Okay, so let's get into your successful product hunt launch. Like, we talked about it. We met on the 100 by 100 day challenge. That's really cool, which was also I found on Product Hunt. You posted a, hey, we launched on Product Hunt, check it out. And it actually, the link went to your Indie Hackers page.
Yep.
Which was really cool because I just recently signed up for Indie Hackers myself, and I noticed that you had posted your journey from idea to Product Hunt. It was like a building and public post, so I have a ton of questions about that. But did you go live on Product Hunt for your first product as well, and did it do well?
So we did not, actually. And I think this is one of the first important lessons is if you're thinking about launching on Product Hunt, you have to make sure you have a product that is like Product Hunt friendly. So with Simplement, it was a much more enterprise type of product. Like we were working with a small group of customers, but with very focused engagements. And so it's not the type of product that someone can just sign up for immediately and start using. There's a little bit of a ramp up period where you spend a couple weeks actually configuring the system and getting it set up for your process. And so we did not launch that one on Product Hunt because we knew it wouldn't really go anywhere. And our target audience wasn't sitting on Product Hunt itself.
Smart.
Yeah. And so like with Kbee though, it was the exact opposite, where we were really the types of folks we wanted using Kbee were the types of folks who are looking for solutions on Product Hunt. They're very quick to test things out. They'll sign up, they'll go through your onboarding flow, and they'll try to get to that point of like first value all on their own, all completely self-motivated. So yeah.
Okay, cool. So that makes a lot of sense. What did you do to prepare for your Product Hunt launch?
Yeah, so we launched Kbee on Product Hunt 4 months after we had actually built written the first line of code for the product itself. So to really talk about our Product Hunt launch, we have to go back to December of 2019 or 2020, sorry, when we first came up with the idea. And so, I think the way to really think about Kbee for us is we had a help center tool that we hated. We always found ourselves writing things in Google Docs and then copying it over to that tool. And so I told my co-founder, like, why are we doing this? Can't we just publish it straight from Drive? And we figured, there's probably other folks who want something like this. And so we threw together a landing page, and actually started posting it on places like Indie Hackers and a few different subreddits. Actually, I found a great list of like 100 places to post your startup to try to get early traction. And so we just threw up our landing page everywhere and told folks, the first 25 people who sign up are going to get free Kbee for free for the lifetime of their subscription. And that helped us drive our first sort of batch of users to us. And so in December, we closed out with something like 50 new users. And that gave us this awesome flywheel of feedback, helped us to improve the product experience, improve our onboarding. And so we spent all of December focused on product. Like, how do we make sure someone can go from like, discovering Kbee to using it in as little as 20 minutes and making it as like seamless as possible. And so no billing, no money stuff set up just yet, really just focused on can people get value from the product. In January, we actually started getting our first subscriptions. So we launched our like payment system in the middle of January, had someone sign up and put their credit card information in within a few days. And so slowly started to have like a little bit of revenue coming in, which we started to see as like true validation that, there's people who want this product. They don't want to talk to anyone to like try to get it. And they're motivated to set it up as soon as possible and just, move on with their lives.
Yeah. I'm going to pull up your website too while you're talking about this, because I want people to be able to see what this is. But go ahead, continue.
Yeah, and so while we were doing this, we were relentless and also experimenting with what to put on our landing page. So like, what is the story we wanted to tell? We went through multiple iterations of the landing page, multiple iterations of our onboarding flow, and then finally got to a point where like, this is like, we haven't touched this landing page now in like, I'd say a couple months, and it's working exactly how we want it to. But so around February, as we started to see our subscriptions go up, we figured it was time for us to actually launch this on Product Hunt. We had done a lifetime deal on another platform. It worked, but it wasn't the best. And we knew we wanted to try to test with a more robust sort of product first audience and see what type of traction we would get. And so for that, we realized we wanted to launch on Product Hunt, but we needed to do a lot of stuff ahead of time to make sure it was successful. So we actually spent close to a month preparing for our Product Hunt launch. And that was after we already had a small community of users. We had a few paid subscribers, and we had folks who were constantly giving us feedback on how to improve the product experience. And so I think, you know, for anyone who's looking to launch on Product Hunt, look at it as part of your journey. It's not the destination. And it's something where you really need to be sure that you kind of have your ducks in a row before you start pushing it out into Product Hunt itself. And that's something that I think, you know, I hadn't really seen in the past. This is something I just learned, because I used to assume that people build products, they launch them on Product Hunt, and then like magically it all goes viral. But what really helped us was having that small community to start, being able to nurture that and build trust with them, and then leverage that trust and support to have a successful Product Hunt launch itself. But so anyway, in that like month leading up to our Product Hunt launch, we did a couple different things. And I can actually also share a link with you for a really great Airtable table that or like a base, whatever you want to call it, that has a whole like readiness plan for launching on Product Hunt. And so in our first, for a month out, we were really focused on, let's get all of our social stuff in place. Let's start to prime our audience to know that, you know, we're going to be launching on Product Hunt. They should have a Product Hunt account ready to go, so they're not creating it the day of, and really just like preparing all of our supporters in our community to support us on this day. We also chose which day of the week to launch, which seemed trivial at the time, but as I've like kind of dove deeper into it, it makes a lot of sense if you're not venture backed, if you don't have a lot of investments or a ton of traction, to pick a day where you're not really competing for attention. And what we found was Sundays were the time for like indie hackers or bootstrappers to really kind of go wild with showing the world what they're doing.
Yeah. This thing is pretty cool. You don't know who created this. It's just been like passed around.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I think I just Googled like preparing for Product Hunt launch, and this showed up, and it was like, you know, if you're the person who made this and you're listening to this, like, shout out to you. Like, thank you so much for your help with this. I don't think we would have been able to do it without this. But so we did that. And then about 2 weeks out, we started to actually email everyone in our personal networks as well and let them know, hey, we're going to be launching on Product Hunt. We've been working on this product, would love your support if you're open to it. And just started to see, like, you know, who is actually down to support us, and made a huge list of that. And so going into our launch, we had a list of like, I think 200 to 300 people all across different channels and different platforms who were already notified about the launch and were actually opting in to support us and help us out when it was time.
Nice.
Yeah. So like, I think that doing that really, really helped us in that, you know, if we had the plan, we could just set up everything else we needed in terms of automations, like email notifications and all that stuff, so that we didn't really have to scramble as much the day of to be able to get the launch up and running. And so a week out, I like put together a bunch of email campaigns, notifying people about the launch going live, giving them a link for that, and just making sure that all of this was set up so that the day that we launched, which was actually Sunday morning at midnight or like 12 a.m., all of the notifications are out. People knew where to go. And we actually had we woke up to a bunch of upvotes and stuff, actually organic, because we hit the East Coast first. Yeah. And then all of our contacts started to trickle in from like the Midwest and beyond. And so that was really it. We didn't get hunted. We just hunted ourselves.
Dope. Okay, nice.
And I know that like a lot of people say, oh, find a hunter that helps. We, I don't think we really tried too hard on that. I'm sure it would have helped us, but we just posted it ourselves and figured we would try it and see what happened. For us, we really looked at the Product Hunt launch as an experiment. And I think that's something that anyone who's launching on Product Hunt should consider. It's not you'll see a huge spike in your traffic. You'll see a huge amount of signups, but that doesn't mean that, you've hit your success metrics. It's really about learning more about like, what type of users are you attracting? Are they the right type of user? Are they seeing the value, and are they willing to like pay? I think is the ultimate thing. And so that was like our whole mentality going into it, which is why we didn't care so much about not getting hunted by a professional hunter. It was really, we'll be able to get data from this launch regardless. And in the future, if we wanted to do a hunt again, we have a little bit of cred now to go to a hunter and say, hey, like, we did this on our own. We were number 2 product of the day. We've like changed a bunch of stuff, added a bunch of things, and are looking to go launch again and would love some support. Yeah.
Yay. Okay, cool. I love that. I didn't even realize that you hadn't gotten a hunter. And I think just everything you shared will be useful to people in South Florida. We're looking at doing a whole big blitz, trying to get this community to really get active on Product Hunt. So thank you so much for all of that. I wanted to spend just a few minutes talking a little bit about your building in public motivation and things of that nature, since I am kind of doing the same thing right now. What is building in public like in your mind?
So I think, it's interesting. Everyone's going to have different definitions of what building in public is. Like, there are a lot of people for whom they're like, it's all about supporting the community and like being a part of this group of people who are all in it together. We, I think, looked at it a little bit more, I hate to say it, but like from like an ROI perspective. Like, we knew we were targeting that type of market. We knew that those are the types of users we wanted to be in front of. And so for us, building in public gave us the ability to connect with our target audience in a way that builds trust, builds familiarity, and ultimately establishes ourselves as some sort of like expert in what we do. I also think building in public helped us to learn from other people and likewise help other people learn from our own mistakes as well. So it really helps. Like I think one of the things I love about the Bay Area is this idea of paying it forward. And so for me, building it public is also another way to just pay it forward. If I can help someone not make the same mistakes and see double the success by reading about our experience, that makes me feel great, because I think, it's all about adding that good karma into the world.
For sure. I feel that like 100.
Yeah.
So how has it been? Because I was building in public, just blogging, because I like blog about everything anyways, and I'm like super obsessed with Instagram, going live and things. So, but then someone was like, oh yeah, you're building in public. And I'm like, okay, Google quickly so you don't look like an idiot. And then I was like, oh my God, this is totally like a methodical like prescription thing that people do. Yeah. So I started doing that. And then like something happened where like something went wrong. I was like, oh shit. Now I've got to build in public, like talk about this. And that was not fun. Like, it's all fun and games to build in public until like something goes wrong, So what have been some of your things for that? Like sharing, do you only share good stuff or like what?
Honestly, I think, I think this is when all things, we can't expect everything to always be good. Like, and in my work experience, like every company I've worked at has fires. We've all had like pretty big like mess ups before. Like, hell, even big companies make mistakes too. Like, I got an email from LinkedIn the other day where they had like insert placeholder text here, like in their subject line. And it's just like, it's little things like that. But I think, when you make a mistake and people react to it, it means you're doing something right, because you have their attention and you have their trust. And the reason that they're saying anything is because they feel like something has happened where their trust has either been like misplaced, or they want your attention so you can fix it for them and they can continue working with you. We are putting out everything. I think it's really important to not just show the good side of things, because that just adds to like a lot of the survivorship bias you see in media publications and in people's stories. Like, it always sounds like people like are only doing good things and they never make any mistakes. And there's some founders who are just like superhumans, but we all make mistakes. And especially when we make mistakes, we just own it. We own up to it pretty fast. So for all of our Kbee customers, we invite them to a like private Slack community with us. And anytime we have a bug, anytime we have any gaffes, we'll just post it on there and be like, hey, like, we messed this up, we fixed it. And like, if you see any issues, let us know. I think being proactive about it, it helps us get ahead of it, and it helps to continue to build trust with our community.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that idea. Although I would need to learn how to use Slack a little better before I offered that to my people. Yeah, okay. So we thank you for sharing. We didn't talk any too deeply about what Kbee actually does. I mean, I showed the site, but maybe let's go into that real quick.
Yeah, Kbee lets anyone turn a Google Drive folder into a searchable wiki for you and your team. And so really what we allow you to do is put together, like we talk to a lot of teams who have documentation in Google Drive today, and we make it easy for you to give a nice published professional space for your team to be able to search through your documentation, find it in like a nice consumable wiki format. They're not searching through Drive, looking through multiple copies of things, and really make it easy for anyone in your team to be empowered to add to a culture of documentation and collaboration. What we found is for a lot of remote teams, your level of documentation really starts to determine how well your teams work together. It impacts everything from your business operations to your customer experience, to the level of autonomy you're able to provide your team and how they make decisions that impact the company. And so Kbee just takes away all of the complexities of setting up a place for you to collaborate and have a place for documentation or of any kind to keep your team on the same page.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm really into it. I document everything. Like I'm like process. So one of the things that happens, and you may not know the answer to this at all, but like when the team doesn't read the documentation. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, guys, like, okay, do I need to make it in a video? Do I need, like, what do I need to do so that you don't ask me a question that I've literally answered in the document?
Yeah, it's so funny, right? Like I think about that as like RTFM, like read the manual basically. And this is what I mean though, of like, you know, having a culture of documentation and collaboration. When you have a wiki that anyone can contribute to, anyone can access easily and make updates to, you start to empower your employees to really think about going there first instead of coming to you. So, you know, with a lot of traditional wikis and something like Jira or Confluence, it's like, you know, I'm the administrator. I put all the articles together and all the documentation, and now you need to go and check it out. But if you're like, hey, like, it's our wiki, we can all contribute to it, and it's like dead simple for anyone. If you want to add an article, just create a new doc. Like all of a sudden, that kind of changes the paradigm for how your team starts to look at documentation as well. It's no longer this like really static, complex thing that they need to like jump through a lot of hoops to use. It's as simple as like opening Google Drive, opening a Google Doc. And like, I think for a lot of people, it starts with the leaders just being like, hey, like all of my stuff is documented. I'm always going here first, and continuing to enforce with your team that we have a great documentation system. Anyone can use it, start to leverage it, and really like read the manual first before you come to me with any questions. If you do that from the beginning stages, your employees start to pick that up, and then they teach that to other new hires as they join as well. And you start to get this great flywheel where people are first reading the documentation before they start asking questions and trying to get an answer from a human.
Yeah. Okay, cool. That's good to know. I appreciate that. And unfortunately, we didn't get anyone tuning in live. We had one viewer earlier and they popped in and they left, but I'm sure that this stream is going to be helpful to people out there. I really appreciate you taking the time. Is there any last words or anything that we should know?
The last things I would say is shout out to the Indie Hackers community and also the Indie Worldwide group. Anthony Castro has done a really good job creating an awesome community of folks. If anyone's looking to like learn more about building products, launching products, go to market stuff, definitely like get plugged into that community. That's how Miriam and I met. And yeah, I think if anyone ever has any questions, feel free to reach out to me on Twitter or, you know, through Indie Hackers as well. Always happy to provide any advice or give any feedback.
Awesome, thanks. And Indie Hackers, they can just find you the same with your first and last name, it looks like.
Yes, exactly. I can drop my Indie Hackers link to you as well, and you can share that with them. Yeah, but it's just my first last name right after the Indie Hackers link. Boom.
Yeah, and check out the challenge on. I should have. I'm literally staying away from that dashboard because I'm like, I still have only one paid user. So I've like been like staying away from the dashboard, but it's a great community and I love it. So here's the Indie Hackers thing, and then check that out in the comments. Follow Sai on Twitter, and if you have any other questions, just comment, and I'm sure that one of us will get back to you. Thanks again, Sai.
No problem. Thank you. Bye.